you're going to do an introduction?
Yep, and we're live. So good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us for the second of our young people sessions this evening. I'm Darren from Bexley. As I said, you may recognise me from the video if you watch that on the website. And Evelyn this evening will be taking you through an introduction to apprenticeships for students, pathways at 16 and 18. Hopefully you'll find the sessions useful. The Q&A box is now live, so if you look towards the top of your screen, you'll see a little, looks like two chat icons with a question mark in it. That's the question and answer box. If you do have questions during the presentations, feel free to drop them in. I'll either respond or I'll ask Evelyn to answer some of the questions towards the end of the presentation. I know that some of you have put questions in already, and we'll hopefully cover those off during the presentation or at the end. And also at the top of your screen, you might see three little dots. If you click on that, you should be able to turn on live captions. What this will do is it effectively puts on subtitles, which may help you sort of understand some of what we're saying. It's not perfect, so you may get some funny translations of what we're saying, particularly me when I don't structure my sentences great, but hopefully it helps make the event a bit more accessible. So what I'm going to do now is hand over to Evelyn, who to take you through the presentation, and I hope you find it useful. So over to you, Evelyn.
And thank you very much, and thank you everybody for making the time to be here. I know it's an evening, and yeah, it's your time. I just want to start by saying that when we make informed choices, we are actually taking control of our destinies. So it's very important that we think through our choices and make informed decisions so that we may influence where and the direction that we take. So my name is Evelyn. I work for Education Development Trust on behalf of National Apprenticeship Service, which is part of the Department for Education. And this evening, I'd like to talk to you about apprenticeships, what they are, what they're not, myths around them, the levels, and all things apprenticeship. So tonight, if you've got any questions around apprenticeships, kindly feel free to ask those by noting them on the chat box, as we said earlier, and we'll talk about them later, okay? If there's anything particularly immediate and you need a response to, do kindly again put it on the chat box and we'll do our best to respond promptly. So without further ado, let's go into the PowerPoint presentation. So let's start by thinking about what apprenticeships are. An apprenticeship is a real job where you actually earn a wage in exchange for your time, and you work for at least 30 hours a week. Our general working week is between 37 and 40 hours a week, depending on the company you work for. However, as an apprentice, you are expected to work for at least 30 hours, and 10 hours you're expected to be working towards a qualification. That's really related to the job you're interested in. We'll talk a little bit more about how that works in practice, but just suffice it to say that with that, you also get a contract of employment because you're an employee. Previously, that was not always the case, but now you do have that as standard. That entitles you to all the benefits that any other employee in that company has. That includes sick pay, holiday pay, and any other benefits that are actually in that company. So there is really, so to speak, no differentiation between yourself and any other member of staff within the company. The only difference is you're an apprentice who is still learning how to do that job until you qualify. Of course, with a real wage, time, benefits, you're expected to tackle the tasks at hand with a good attitude and consistently according to the policies and procedures the company has. It is important that you understand what those tasks are and make sure that actually you're going to an apprenticeship that interests you, because the task may be quite boring if you're not actually interested in that particular job. So as a summary, an apprenticeship is a job that actually gives the opportunity to also learn while you earn. Okay, so this slide here is about demystifying apprenticeships. There have been around, the apprenticeships have been around for a long time, and unfortunately, there are also very negative things that are said about them. And some of those for tonight, I'd like to actually just bring some facts to bear. For example, there is a myth that an apprenticeship is a badly paid slave labor kind of thing. Dead-end jobs. However, as you shall see later, that is not strictly true. And in fact, it is not true, because as you will see, the average pay for an apprentice is about £4.15 an hour, compared to £3.90 for under 18s. Also, there is the myth that a lot of employers do get rid of apprentices once they're finished. However, research proves that between 75% and 90% of apprentices tend to stay on with their current employers post-apprenticeship. Social life is also quite an issue for some of the apprentices, as they feel they may be losing their networks, and that apprenticeships really have not got many people who got into them who are their age range. However, there is a network called Young Ambassadors Apprentices, which is actually about all young people in apprenticeships, and they're able to go out for drinks, they're able to exchange notes and just talk about their goals together. So it's really important that we remember we're creating new networks all the time, we're making new friends, and of course, as an apprentice, you've got extra cash that will help you obviously use your time, and of course you've got money to do that. I think one of the key impressive points I'd like to make tonight about apprenticeship is that you can actually create a pathway to a degree level if that's what you want to do. So previously, it was just academic route, strictly speaking. However, nowadays you've got the option to actually go all the way, and sometimes all the way to post-degree. If you did decide to take that route, then the government pays for your fees and the employer pays for your salary, and therefore there are no debts. There is an average debt of at least 60,000 for academic full-time students, compared to an apprentice doing a graduate, an apprenticeship degree. The other thing is that with an apprenticeship, you can relocate to a different area of the country because the employer may wish for you to go to a different branch. So depending on the kind of employer and their size, you may be expected to move around the country quite a bit. So those are the key truths about apprenticeships, and any other myths around that, you're more than welcome to put them on the chat box and we can demystify them tonight. I just would like to say that it's not the easiest route because it's competitive, it is a job, and everybody who wants to go into it must put their best foot forward. So in that sense, you need to make sure you've thought it through and that you're making a really informed choice, and that you're picking something that you're definitely interested in, because that's what gets you through on cold days like now. Okay, so just think very carefully about that. Okay, so the other key point I'd like to make tonight is about the range and the breadth of apprenticeships. Again, previously there were very few apprenticeships, and in all honesty, you could actually count them on one hand. But now we do have over 200 areas of apprenticeships. On the slide, you can see a sample of those. Some of them, which are quite surprising, is previously they were only available through the academic route. Now, hopefully some of those interest you, but if you're more interested to find out about the whole 200 of them, you are more than welcome to go onto the Amazing Apprenticeship website, and you will find a brochure named or titled A to Z of Apprenticeships. Kindly look through that and you will see many different apprenticeships. So the other key question to ask, and which is a valid question, is which employers offer apprenticeships. And as we can see, these are brand names and high street household names, and the employers have been around for quite a long time. Amidst COVID, we may wonder whether they're still employing, and the answer to that is yes, as we shall see later. And in fact, you may want to prove that point by going onto their websites, and you will see they have a section on apprentices. May I also say that these employers have agreed to actually post their apprenticeships on the government site, which is a portal which will help you to register onto and create an account, so that year in, year out, they're bringing young people some apprenticeships. Okay, so if there's any of these companies that interest you, of course, some of them have been quite badly hit by the COVID, especially the travel industry. So British Airways, for example, of course, they've been affected badly, but they're still recruiting, maybe less, more than usual, but still there are jobs out there. So, however, if, for example, you're doing a BTEC, you already are familiar with the concept of vocational areas or industry areas. In addition to that, you may be interested to know that in terms of departments, you can think about what you may wish to specialize in. So, for example, if you're interested in computers, you may want to go into IT, cybersecurity, because every company needs to protect their data, they need to protect their information. You may wish to go into marketing because you'd like to be in sales and promotions, or you may want to just simply go into customer care because you're interested in working with people, solving problems, and supporting people in that way. So it's really important that you think broadly about the apprenticeship you want to do instead of getting hung up on the actual company. And as you'll find, most big companies have got these areas. So think about your apprenticeship or your interest area broadly, and that may yield a better option. So who can actually start an apprenticeship? So you've got to be 16 or over, must be living in England, and you must not be in full-time education. Legally and officially, you are counted as in full-time education until the 30th of June of the year in which you leave. So ensure that you are not in full-time education. You can apply, however, you cannot start that apprenticeship until then. So you've got to be 16 minimum. So in terms of levels of apprenticeships, you can actually start at any of this level depending on where you are. If you're just finishing 11, of course, that is your level 2 qualification, and provided you're able to make at least 5 9-4s, you are comfortably able to move on to level 3 of apprenticeship, which is advanced apprenticeship. And level 3 apprenticeship is equivalent to BTEC, level 3s, or any level 3 qualification, including A levels. That is the natural progression. And of course, after A levels or level 3, you may wish to go on to level 4 upwards. Level 4 and 5 at the breaking point, which is higher national certificates or foundation degree. And of course, a foundation degree must contain a level 6. Level 7 is post-degree. And of course, there are certain industry areas where you can actually work all the way to level 7. I'd like to actually put a small print here that, strictly speaking, it's not always a straight line. It doesn't mean because you finish level 3, you will start at level 4. It's not necessarily the case. Sometimes employers still wish for you to start at level 3 because you are not actually experienced, you have theory. However, those are questions you ask when you're actually invited to an interview. Another key point I'd like to make about apprenticeship is their behaviors. So it's really important that you understand that in addition to skills and knowledge, you're expected to demonstrate certain behaviors about the job that you're doing, which forms part of the assessment process. So how do the degrees through an apprenticeship compare? This is quite important for level 3 students who may actually not be necessarily very clear on how this works. Now, if you want to go to university to an apprenticeship route, you are actually learning on the job as much as you're learning in the classroom. So to speak, you are actually just splitting your work. You're learning into work-based learning and classroom learning. However, in terms of comparison of like for like, both the apprentice and full-time graduate, undergraduate, you're both learning, just different ways of learning. The apprentice is being paid, academic route, you're not being paid. You are actually accruing debt of around maybe 60 to 70,000. If you're in London, that might be actually 60 to 70,000 for real. And as an apprentice, of course, the government pays for your fees. You both are entitled to be part of the student union for a small fee of £11 a year if you're an apprentice. In terms of work experience, of course, which you know, you're actually doing a work-based learning route, so you would be more experienced as an apprentice compared to a graduate. And of course, in terms of the duration of time it takes to complete an apprenticeship, is between 4 and 6 years. Okay, right. So that is how the two compare, and that's the like-for-like comparison. If there are any questions around that, kindly do ask at the end of the presentation. So how does actually the apprenticeship work in practice? So when we started out, I mentioned about 10 hours per week that you need to actually be off the job learning. And you could be actually doing any one of these. You could be learning in the workplace. You could be doing some project online. You may be in a classroom learning, or you may be actually in a college of training, learning about your area of work. Either way, no matter where you are, it has to be a learning activity for which you're paid. Okay, so that is how the 20% of your time is spent. It is a legal requirement. Employers are actually supposed to follow that rule and law. Right, so now let's move on a bit towards the more practical aspects of an apprenticeship. We've talked about what they are, how they work, the levels, and you can start at any point depending on where you want to go to, and of course where you're at. And also we've talked about the range of apprenticeships available. Now let's think about the jobs and the vacancies available. So as I mentioned earlier in my previous presentation, as of 4th of February, those were the vacancies available around Bexley. And so without belaboring the point, what I want you to understand is that the further out you're willing to travel, the more vacancies are available. And obviously, the more flexible you are, the better your chances are, especially in this very competitive and challenging times. Very important we remember flexibility is a skill that is very, very much required on your part. These are some of the examples of the areas and jobs available at the moment. So as you can see, the Beacon Communication Services, they are actually looking for a field engineer, okay, and they're paying them £166 per week. And the closing date is quite an important aspect of applying for jobs. It's important that you actually make sure you know when that is happening so you don't miss the opportunity. The other aspect is the tasks. Remember I said you're actually doing real tasks. Those are the tasks that are actually relevant to this job. So it's really important you read out the job spec and see what actually the employer expects you to do, and really think about whether you line up with that. Do you have those skills? Can you grow into them? Can you learn them? Are you interested in doing that? Is this something you'd want to do day in, day out, or would it bore you to tears on those days when you're not really up to par? So it's really important that when you're looking for an apprenticeship, you think about all those things. This is another one, and the reason this actually features here is because it's still not that far out. And in terms of flexibility, it's important we think a little bit outside our area and be willing to travel. When you actually go in to find apprenticeship.gov.uk, you will be able to actually map out your route and your travel time so you can make an informed choice about and how realistic it is for you to apply for that job. You can see right here, for example, it tells you it's 0.9 miles away and the requirement in terms of the grades that they need. So they need a level 3 person for this particular one. So it's always very important to look there. However, as I said, there is not a specific and standard grade. They require different employers will be asking for different grades. Okay, so this one also is just around Bexley. And again, it does specify what tasks they need you to perform, how far it is, and the possible start date. So let's talk about a possible start date. That is when you could, the earliest would possibly start. However, you'd have to be already out of school to start that job. So maybe perhaps people who finished last year would start applying for those jobs, and they're applying maybe perhaps for those jobs. In terms of the payments and how much they pay apprentices, as you can see, the sales and support business administration. This is somebody who will actually be training to be a front office or managing office, and they would be paying maybe £210 a week, so which is 10,920. And of course, we saw there earlier that for that job you would be requiring advanced A level. Okay, so advanced level 3 rather. So if you are actually able to do such tasks, it's important that you maybe perhaps think about it. And of course, we can see chartered surveyors, like for example, they're paid 21,400. Of course, there are other employers who pay a bit less and some a bit more than this. Okay, so just read up the job description and think about what actually is valuable to you in terms of actually applying for a job. So next up is, how do you actually find these jobs? We know there are vacancies out there. We know you need to apply. There are many skills involved, and of course we can help you develop those, and we can support you with those, like interview techniques, mock workshops, filling in application form, writing a winning CV. Those are all things that we can support you with in order to help you on your journey to an apprenticeship. However, the finallapprenticeship.gov.uk is our main portal, which is a government site which allows you to create an account, register for an apprenticeship. And once you've registered, you've got an account, you're able to research the available vacancies, you're able to also search and apply, and also set up alerts of jobs that actually you may be interested in, but are not necessarily available immediately. So you can actually be sent alerts wherever you are, whatever time, 24/7, and all you need to do is go in, check that vacancy. If you like it, send in your CV, and then call them up, perhaps contact the company and talk to them a bit more around the job, so you have a competitive edge right there. So the findapprenticeship.gov.uk, that is something, again, we would come to your schools and support you in doing. Where else can you look? The company website is a go-to area. Of course, your smartphones, you've got them in your hands all day long. Use them. They say in the year 2020, if your smartphone's not making you money, it's not very smart. So kindly use it. Friends and family, they may know things you don't know, things that will not appear in social media, things that will not be on the website or on the newspaper. So do talk to them, make clear your intentions, and also just really make them aware of your interest areas. Vacancy snapshot is a list of those top 100 companies that I showed you earlier. And of course, let's not forget the smaller businesses around the corner on the high streets that are always looking for people to fill in vacancies as and when they come up. And yeah, that's it really. So we've talked about what apprenticeships are. We've actually talked about the myths around apprenticeships. We've talked about how they work. And we've also talked about which employers potentially have got vacancies and actually have vacancies, and how to find an apprenticeship. So for me, I would like you to listen to this young man here who actually went on to do an apprenticeship. And hopefully you can hear his experiences and be inspired about this pathway that is apprenticeship. But whatever you do, make sure it's the right option for you, and that you are able to actually see whatever you choose to do to completion. So I will try and play this, and hopefully we'll play on my end now. So let's have a quick look. Hold up. Or maybe you may wish to do you want to do it? Because I have not got this option. Just 1 minute. Let me just see whether I can find it. Okay, I can actually not see this sound button. Sure. I can't see it. Do you want to play for me?
Hi everyone. We had some challenges with sound on the last run, so hopefully
Yeah, I can't
I'll
see
be
it.
I'll be able to play the video for Evelyn. So please bear with me 1 second whilst I reload the page for the video for apprenticeships. In the meantime, Evelyn, whilst I'm just doing that, there was a good question that came through from Gemma,
Sure.
which was what is the application process like for level 3 apprenticeships, and do you have any application or interview advice?
Okay, so yes. Okay, so two-part question there. Okay, so for a level 3 apprenticeship, you may actually need to go to the website, for example, as you showed earlier. You can search by qualification, by employer, by level. So it's really important that you choose the right criteria. You can also choose by occupation. Are there any tips for applying and landing an apprenticeship? Yes, I've got quite plenty of them. In terms of interviews, of course, you've got to sell yourself. Be authentic, be original. Of course, make sure that you've researched the company, you know what you're talking about. And for application, most of the time they will ask you to just fill in an application form. And now we have online interviews, video interviews, or we can support you with that if your school invites us to come in.
Thank you. I'm having a bit of a challenge myself with the video
Are you
this
able
time.
to play?
Oh, I'm
Okay.
almost there, so bear with me 1 second, and hopefully
No problem.
I'll have it for you.
Okay.
So fingers crossed, everybody, as I try and share my desktop and get the right video for you.
From a young age, I was very interested in acting and theatre as a whole. I definitely knew that's where I wanted to specialise. So I applied for drama schools, and I didn't get into any. I did get into 2 universities, but I didn't feel like that was really right for me. That's when I decided to look for apprenticeships. I got one from the Royal Opera House, and I thought, wow, this looks really interesting. For me specifically, as a technical theatre apprentice, there's never really a typical day. I move around different departments, lighting, sound, working on stage. The studying element of my apprenticeship is very much run by me. I can work wherever I want to. Working in theatre already, especially straight from school, is really exciting. I know I'll definitely remain in theatre. An apprenticeship is an obvious choice for me.
Thank you once again for helping me out there. I'm sorry, guys, I just cannot find that button, but yeah, we live and learn. We're in tech age. Are there any more questions? Because we've got to the end of our presentation, but of course, our live event of question and answer is open. So yeah, I'm here to answer any questions, myself and Sir.
So we've been quite quiet in the question and answer box with this group. The last group were asking a lot more questions. But from some of the questions that were submitted earlier, one was, are there any on-the-job learning apprenticeships that do not require going to college?
No, because an apprenticeship by its very nature is a mix of learning and working. So it would not work. That would be purely just learning, in which case you would need to go to a college.
Yeah, I mean, I personally did an apprenticeship and I wasn't at college to put it one day every week, but I did what they call block learning. So every sort of month I'd do a couple of days or a week at college to make sure that I completed the 20% off the job training, which you have to do with every apprenticeship. So different apprenticeships will do things in different ways, but every apprenticeship will include an element of having to go to college to do some learning, because it's at college that you learn the skills that you put into place then in the workplace.
Yeah.
Construction is a very popular area in Bexley, and another young person that registered for this session was saying, where would I look for plumbing or electrician type vacancies? And I think this is a similar question to one that we had with the last group.
Yeah, I think personally, I'll recommend your first point of call should be the local council, because every summer they've got vacancies for young people. But of course, we've got other big construction companies like Lang or Rook. We've also got the job centre. They can go into the job centre, or rather go onto the site now. You don't have to physically go to the job centre. But also in terms of course, find apprenticeship, I cannot obviously overemphasize that. You need to actually go on that side. There's quite a lot of apprenticeships there as well. In fact, for construction, TFL Rail, and we've got this other company, they're called Ethical Builders or Building Company. I cannot remember now the name, but I would say go to the obviously find an apprenticeship.gov.uk first and foremost, and also go directly to this company that build Barrett Homes, and all those kind of companies. But your council would be the first port of call for me as well. But you can add some more there. So.
Yeah. New question, which is, how common is it to find the opportunity to get an apprenticeship alongside a degree, i.e. where you do them both at once? So I think this is the new degree apprenticeships that have come along in the last few years.
Okay, yeah, so it's very common, I dare say. And may I say, the list of universities now includes the Russell Group University. You may be surprised to know that Cambridge does apprenticeships. You may be also surprised to know that Oxford Brookes does apprenticeships, Warwick does, but also there are over 200 universities now, which makes it very common, and the list is growing all the time. And yes, so the answer is very common, and of course depends on the kind of degree apprenticeship you'd like to do.
Yeah, I think degree apprenticeships have been one of the fastest growing areas in terms of apprenticeships in recent years. It's something that a lot of companies have really built upon. And so companies such as Ernst & Young or EY, as they shorten to these days, now do degree apprenticeship intakes as much as they do graduate recruitment intakes. So if you know a big company that you think might do degree apprenticeships, have a look on their website. There's a very good chance that they do.
Yeah, there's KPMG, there's Ernst & Young, there's PricewaterhouseCoopers, KIP, Gemini. The list is endless. All the companies that I showed on the board there, which is at least 100 top employers, they do apprenticeship. So that's a really good place to start. So you go to Amazing Apprenticeship website and you will see the vacancy snapshot, which has all those employers. They will definitely be looking for apprentices.
Yeah. Another person's asked, how easy is it to transfer skills learnt from apprenticeships to another similar workplace?
Sorry, say that again, sir.
How easy is it to transfer skills learned from an apprenticeship to another similar workplace?
To another similar workplace in the sense of another apprenticeship degree, or just an apprenticeship?
I mean, just in terms of going from one job to another, and I think the answer is that it should be pretty simple. Yeah, I think any apprenticeship is going to teach you the core basics of the work ethic that employers are looking for. So that's about wanting to learn, about being reliable, about good communication skills. These are all things that you're going to learn in any apprenticeship that you'll then really be able to take across to another organisation.
Yes, most definitely. And I think with apprenticeships, like any other job, to be honest, there are those core skills that we all, communication, IT, literacy, teamwork, you know, those kind of skills that you can take across that are needed in every job. But in addition to that, of course, you will gain specialist skills that you can take directly into a similar situation. So yeah, very, 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 very common, definitely, and very easy.
Yeah, we have somebody who's come in, they're 24 at the moment, they have a disability and they're looking to do any apprenticeships in hair and beauty. Do you have any advice and guidance for this person?
Advice, yes, guidance, careers leader from the school or careers teacher. However, all I would say is that hand beauty is underrated, to be honest. We do know superstars who have personal beauty and personal assistants, personal trainers, and all that stuff, personal makeup artists. It's a really huge area. And of course, you can actually take it as far as you want it to. So in terms of getting into hand beauty, a whole range of companies exist on the high streets, as well as in colleges of further education, as well as employers like Tony and Guy, John Frieda, and just to name a few, but it is quite a very, very lucrative area, especially now. So in terms of applying, do apply either to a college or to just directly to a training provider, depending on the level at which you want to do it and whether you want to do beauty therapy, beauty and makeup, hairdressing and beauty. So just really define your area and then define how you want to do it. That's what I would say.
Yeah, and I think it's important to remember that apprenticeships are jobs and therefore the employers have still got to follow the same rules as if it were any other job.
Yeah.
So anyone who's got a disability that starts an apprenticeship can apply to access for work or access to work, apologies, in order to get support in making workplace adaptations or support in the workplace. Colleges will know this information as well. And in Bexley, we've got a good range of hair and beauty providers. The main one that I know about is Inspire Hair and Beauty in Welling. There's also SJC Training Academy. And we know that London South East Colleges and London Skill for Growth also do hair apprenticeships. So it may be worth getting in touch with those as, providers as well to see if they've got any opportunities and can help you with the application process. A question that's come through in recommending any companies that offer apprenticeships in engineering that are accessible to girls. I think give it a try would be my answer to that. I shouldn't think there are any jobs that shouldn't be accessible to girls these days. As I said earlier, jobs are jobs and therefore they have the same equalities requirements as non-apprenticeship jobs. I know that at the moment London South East colleges are looking for engineering apprentices to work at the Ocado distribution centre in Belvedere, which is a huge warehouse full of robots, so quite an exciting place to be working. And they're always, you know, they do everything from robots that will open up your shopping bags so that people can put things in them, to robots now that are effectively picking up fruit and making sure that they don't squash it. So if you have an interest in engineering, I'd suggest go for anything that you think you want to do. Give it a try. There's no limitations on gender when it comes to apprenticeships.
That's amazing. I mean, the AI thing, of course, yeah, the gender, we don't even have to talk about that. It should not be an issue, definitely.
Cool.
Are there any other questions? Okay, I've got one here.
Yep.
And I believe that this is a bit private. It's about CV advice. May I just say this as an announcement, to be honest? If you do need any further help, like this person's asking, do actually email me or let your school or your careers teacher or leader or whoever you organize this through with. But I've actually sent my email there. I'm the apprenticeship advisor for your area. And so I'm more than happy to send me a request, but of course with your school name on it, or allow your teachers to send me an email. Do express your interest and we will come and do a session.
Okay. Are you okay for me to publish that response, Evelyn?
Of course, most definitely, yeah.
Hopefully it will all come through so that others can see. One question that's just come in whilst we've been talking is somebody that's already doing a level 1 hair and beauty and wants to know if there's any other they can do apart from hair and beauty. So I think it would depend on what you'd want to do next as a progression route. You can, if you don't want to go into hair and beauty, have a think about what it is that you do want to do next, whether there's anything there in particular you've learned that you may be able to take across.
Sure.
I think there's a lot of things that you will learn in hair and beauty. I'm working on the assumption that it's an apprenticeship, so there's every chance you've engaged with customers, you've got good customer service skills there. If you want to stick within the sort of beauty area, it may be that you want to go across more into sort of massage or something along those lines. I think what I would suggest is if you, as you're 24, speaking perhaps to the National Careers Service website, or speak to an advisor at the National Careers Service, get my words out in the right order, I do apologise, giving them a call on their free phone number or having a chat with them online, just to see what options there are for you. They can provide you with free and impartial advice and guidance to help you decide what the next steps will be and find courses that may be suitable for you.
Yeah, it's a big area, as I mentioned earlier. Beauty, it could be makeup artist, could be massage, it could be all sorts of things, really. It's huge.
And I think that's it with the questions at the moment, unless there's any more to come in. If not, as I say, I would thank everyone for your time this evening. I hope that you found the event useful. I should have said to the last group that the presentations are recorded, and so hopefully we'll be able to watch them back later at the week in case there's any bits that you missed at the beginning. We'll have them up on our bexley.gov.uk/apprenticeship event, bit of a mouthful, website. There's some other useful links on there for you, so one-click links to look at all of the apprenticeships that are being advertised at the moment through the Find Apprenticeship Service website. You can then tweak the little search options to make it a bit more relevant to what it is that you're looking for. And we've also got one-click links to all of the local training providers, so you can go and have a look at what sort of training they deliver and then maybe get in touch with them if there's something there that is of interest to you. I referenced earlier, for example, Inspire Hair and Beauty. We've got their website and telephone number. SJC Training Academy, we have their information. London South East Colleges. If there's a local training provider that supported our previous apprenticeship events, we've put them on the website. Have a look at their opportunities, and hopefully you'll find an opportunity for you that you'd be interested in. I will add, if you're in school and you've got any questions, please do also speak to your school's careers advisor. If you're aged 16 to 18 and you're not in education, employment or training, you can speak to prospects at Bexley Youth Advice. They will provide some support as well. And if you're over the age of 18, as I referenced earlier, have a conversation with the National Careers Service. They provide free and impartial guidance and can help you find some next steps as well.
Yeah, may I also add that on the Amazing Apprenticeship website, www.amazingapprenticeship.com, kindly, there are many resources that will be of use to you no matter what age and no matter what your inclinations. Do kindly go there and see what might be useful for you.
Okay. Yeah. I will come. I think one more question's come back in, and I'll come back to that question privately. But otherwise, I think thank you everyone for coming along this evening. We hope that you found it useful, and good luck for the future.
Yes, good luck everybody, and thanks for your time. Enjoy the National Apprenticeship Week. Have fun.